So this month I kind of want to go over the more scarier risks, if you will, and it really happens the first trimester. These are all first trimester, but second month especially, a lot of these can show. Miscarriage obviously is always a number one, and sometimes it's for a reason and other times it's not. It's literally just your body decided against it, and it really sucks and it's horrible, and however you need to feel your feelings, you gotta do that. So I just want to make that note. I'm going to talk about that later, but it's very important to make note of that. And you can have neural tube defects, which are really big in if you aren't having the right folic acid, and as the baby is growing there can be some defects going on, and that's why they always suggest having folic acid, because that can really help brain development, so you don't have to worry about things like that. Another thing is bleeding. Heavy bleeding can cause issues. It's just for some reason our wall doesn't like to stay put like it should. And so ultimately you can have heavy bleeding, which can make you be really ill, hospitalized, or even potentially lose the baby. I always say this wrong, but hyperemesis gravidarum. I probably said that wrong, but this is severe vomiting. This is... you can't even keep a drop of water down for a day. You can't even smell food, even for a second. Like, there is really bad morning sickness, and then there's this. And this is a totally different story. And people actually that have this are constantly hospitalized, number one. Constantly needing IVs to hydrate themselves, number two. And number three, sometimes you can actually have it so bad that you ultimately need a stomach bag, so that you can be fed that way, because you literally cannot ingest food. It has to go right into your stomach, which actually ultimately can cause you to still throw up, but it's the only way that your body can actually keep gaining nutrients. And people lose insane amounts of weight, and it's honestly terrifying. It's very scary. It's very intense. You're absolutely miserable. And the craziest thing ever is the minute your baby gets out of your body, it is done. It's not going to happen again. You don't even have lingering side effects, which is the craziest part. So it's really strictly, now they have come to realize it's just the way certain bodies react to pregnancies. And I don't know how true this is. I only read one forum about it, and I haven't done deeper, but I do believe that there is a genetic code, or they're trying to figure out if there is a genetic code that you can actually get tested to figure out if you ultimately will have that. So if you have had family members in the past have this issue, it might be worth looking into that. But again, I don't know how deep. I only read one forum about it. It was a medical journal, but still. An ectopic pregnancy. So this is a pregnancy that happens outside of the wall. Sadly, it always ends up in a D&C or on its own exit miscarriage. You can just get really yourself, as the birthing person, can really, really be damaged because of following through with this pregnancy, let alone they never grow properly, they never last long enough. For those individuals that choose to continue on, a lot of time they have extremely early pregnancy or birth, or they ultimately have a late term miscarriage, and those really suck, because they ultimately, you have very limited choices on how to help baby leave, and it's an experience, and having it in general is horrible. And sadly, people that typically have, I'll say more than one, because a lot of people can just have one, but if you have more than one, the likelihood of you having that regularly is very, very high. And having the implantation done by a medical professional seems to help some individuals that have the genetic, constant for that. And I don't understand. I don't think there's really a rhyme or reason. Some people say it's the shape of your, reproductive system. Other people say it's your hormones. And, it could be both playing in once. It could just, who knows? It's just a very sad, unfortunate thing, but it is a real thing. And it really, really, really sucks. And another thing which you would typically know by the end of this month, the atopic pregnancy especially, neural tube defects you can know, but that's, in my opinion, more something you find out later with a more intense ultrasound. Miscarriage and bleeding obviously can be told right away. Your vomiting can be known right away. But another thing is a molar pregnancy. And this is essentially your body made a pregnancy, and it's really just a group of cells. Everything in your body mimics a pregnancy. What goes on with your reproductive system, your hormones, you peeing on a test, a blood test, literally will all tell you that you're pregnant. And truly the only way for you to know that it's not actually a viable pregnancy and a molar pregnancy is getting that ultrasound. Which is also why I say, it's so difficult to understand miscarriages, because some people never even have that ultrasound and they had no idea that it was actually a molar pregnancy all along, and it's a mock pregnancy to your body. You would have truly no idea, but that is a big risk, and that's kind of what happens when you don't have an ultrasound, is you just miscarry, and you sometimes can just assume it's a miscarry, and really it was that type of pregnancy. And those are very random. I have, in the research that I've done regarding them, I've never seen them like repetitively happen. But yeah. So, if you have any questions regarding these especially, or if you want me to go in deeper with them, please let me know. I gladly can do that. But yeah, that's the big risks. Those are the scary risks to think about. Pay attention to, especially end of month 2, because you're really going to see these the end of month 2. It can happen anytime, like I said, your first trimester, but a lot of people notice these by the end of month 2. So, that's it. That's month 2. We're all set. Moving on to month 3.